Anyway, good morning once again, or good afternoon, or good evening if you're in another time zone or watching later, and welcome and happy Mother's Day. So my topic for today is boundary keepers nurturing healthy connections. And I want to start with wishing Happy Mother's Day to everybody, including our mothers, our fur baby mothers, our dad moms, right? Yes, that's important. Those without mothers, those who should be mothers, single mothers, new mothers, grandmothers, chosen mothers, and expecting mothers. So to all of them and all of us, a happy Mother's Day, and also honoring the divine feminine in each of us, which I will talk about in a few minutes. So we're going to talk about boundaries today, and the sacred yes, and the sacred no. Because both of those, I'll bet you will agree with me, both of those are equally important in our lives. So Mother's Day today, Father's Day next month, and for those thankfully I don't include myself, but if your relationship with your earthly parents was not a Hallmark card and wasn't what it could have been or should have been or might have been, I invite, encourage, and challenge you to hold yourself in just a little more love over the next couple of months, because it's not always wonderful, keeping in mind that they always did the best they could, but that doesn't mean that we were happy about it or had to like it. So please do love yourself a little more during these couple of months because of that. But what we can do, regardless of our relationship with our earthly mother, is to recognize that divine feminine within each of us. The compassion, the empathy, the wisdom and kindness, the intuitive ideas, the creativity, the nurturing that we have within us, that within each person that is part of this divine feminine. And we also give ourselves the opportunity to mother ourselves. So to be just a little more patient with ourselves, just a little more understanding with ourselves, a little more compassionate with ourselves. Because I don't know about you, but I tend to not be quite so patient with me. You know, you did the best you could, but I really screwed up. You know, so how important it is for us to recognize, to allow that divine feminine and that loving nurturing within us to reflect on ourselves as well as on everybody else. And embrace all of us, the wholeness, because you've heard me say this before and you will again, I am patient and loving and charming and sparkling. I am. And I am also hateful and surly and cranky and impatient and all those other things. And guess what? So are you. Because that's the wholeness of us, and that's who we are. And so in this recognition of our wholeness, it's the whole package. And so when I have those, and you've heard me say this before and you will again, when I have one of those, oh, for the love of God moments, I know there's a judgment coming. That's the first thought. I can lovingly, gently pull myself back from that and say, I cannot judge this, and we'll talk more about that later. So that's that loving, nurturing, divine feminine in each of us. I love this quote from Tara Brach. Oops, that's not it. One more. There we go. The mother within us is not a role, she is a presence. She sees, knows, and nurtures the child within us who still longs to be loved exactly as we are. Because I am that. You are that. I am all of that and more besides, and it's all part of who we are. And our trying to leave something off to the side, what means, and my experience has been, and I bet yours as well, is if I ignore it, if I try to deny it, it comes back in surprising and wonderful ways. I had a dear friend that was a psychologist, and he talked about, oh God, I'm going to date myself again. He talked about trading stamp books. Remember, yay, thank you. Remember the S&H green stamps and the blue chip stamps. Remember those? And again, if you don't remember those, I don't want to hear about it. But for some of us, you'd go to the grocery store, and before there were the rewards program, the money rewards programs, you would get trading stamps, and you'd take those home and paste them in the book. And so he talked about relationships as being this experience of, so something happens and it's crossed a boundary and you're not happy about it, but instead of saying, now wait just a minute, let's talk about this, you get a green stamp and you put it in the book. And then it happens again. And you put it in the book, and you put it in the book, and you fill up a book, and you fill up another book, but you're not saying anything because, no, it's okay. And then something happens. You wake up in the morning, and you go downstairs to the kitchen, and your beloved says, gee, you look tired. Didn't you get enough sleep last night? No, I didn't get enough sleep last night, and you want to know why? Or the poor person that's in the left-hand lane doing 55 miles an hour on the 8 West when you're trying to get to work, and you just explode out of the blue. That means that's cashing in all of our stamp books, when if we'd allowed ourselves to talk about our boundaries beforehand, we wouldn't be collecting all of those. So just something to think about. The mother within us, this loving, nurturing presence, reminds us to feel what we feel, to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. No, I don't want to do that. Or yes, I really want to do that. She invites, encourages, and challenges us to decide what is ours to do and what is not. Again, the sacred yes and the sacred no. It's okay. It's because we know what makes our hearts sing and our tails wag and what doesn't. And it's okay to speak up for ourselves. The loving, nurturing mother within us invites us to offer ourselves the same compassion that we would offer to other people. No, I didn't get that done. I was going to do whatever it was, but I didn't get that done. But it's okay because it'll get done tomorrow. My dog doesn't care. Maggie does not care that I didn't clean the kitchen last night. It's okay. And we can give ourselves that grace and that love that the loving, nurturing mother within us would give us and say, it's okay, because the good news is it'll be there, right? The dirty dishes will still be there, and it's all right. These healthy connections require us to stand in our truth. Now, I don't know about you, but I come from a place of a little bit, and I'm much better now than I was, but a place of feeling like I need to go along to get along. I don't want to do that. That doesn't make sense to me, but I don't want to rock the boat, so I'll just go along. That's a risky invitation when the Divine Mother says, no, I don't think you want to do that, do you? Consider this concept of risky invitations, and this is from one of my favorite books. A New Way to Be Human, 7 Spiritual Pathways to Become Fully Alive by Robert V. Taylor. And in the book he writes, risky invitations interrupt the imagined or assumed course of your life, raising the stakes right where you struggle the most. So if standing in your truth, if speaking up for yourself is an issue, it's a risky invitation sometimes to be able to do that. Responding to these invitations takes you beyond your comfort zone, inviting transformation and an enlarged understanding of yourself, others, and the holy. The perceived risk to what you imagine to be certain may tempt you to decline the invitation, but don't say no just yet. To turn back from the risky invitation of your journey is to trifle with life by willfully denying yourself the fullness of who you are meant to be. As you cease to clutch at what you know, standing up for ourselves, saying yes, saying no. As you cease to clutch what you know, you will come to appreciate your journey with new tenderness. Living with unclenched hands frees you to be partners with the holy. The risky invitations are much more than a surprise disrupting your familiar patterns. They are a gift connecting you with others in new mindfulness about what it means to be fully human. In accepting risky invitations, your transformation switches on a light by which you see the journey with new eyes. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that. And there's the risky invitation. But if I deny it and say, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. Ever done that? I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. I don't know about you, but my experience has been what I get regret, which to me is just about the worst emotion because I can't go back and undo what I did. So I get regret and then I get resentment. I resent you for even asking me because you know I was going to say yes. And it's a big mess. This divine feminine, this loving, nurturing feminine presence within us invites us to say, now wait just a minute. Is that yours to do? And if it is, that's great. But if it's not, that's okay. The sacred yes and the sacred no. Speaking our truth. When it's in an appropriate way, in love, in compassion, thank you so much for thinking of me, but not this time. I don't know about you, but this is spiritual and emotional exercise. Doesn't always come easy, but it's so incredibly important for us. When we do this, we allow ourselves to live wholeheartedly. And I love this quote, one of my favorite books, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. Wholehearted living is about engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and how much left is undone, I am enough. It's going to bed at night thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am also brave and worthy of love and belonging. If we're not feeling all of that, if we're not listening to what the divine feminine is telling us, we're not living wholeheartedly. It's like the experience, and those of you that have flown on an airplane recently, or even if it's been a while, it's flying first class versus row 34E in the back of the plane, just in front of the bathroom, so the seat doesn't recline, on Delta. In a middle seat, yes, 34E. So a middle seat in the very back of the plane that doesn't recline, and you're seated like this, and you just can't. Versus the first class experience of a drink before we take off, and a hot towel, and the warm mixed nuts, and all of the other things. It's completely different, but every day, moment by moment, it's our choice how we're going to choose to respond to the risky invitations and allow ourselves to say yes and say no. So talking about boundaries, are our phones on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? I know, right? Or do we know that there's that you can actually silence them? Or, and this was a realization for me not too long ago, did you know that we can actually turn them off? Wow. Or, nah, I'm not sure about that. We could even, you mean that it's not attached to my backside? Yeah, yes, right. Airplane mode, right? That, if you don't want to turn them off, just put it on airplane mode. But sometimes we need that. If it's an emergency, call 911. Otherwise, I'll get back to you after I'm finished walking on the beach or walking in the mountains or meditating or just being. But how important it is to set those boundaries that I'm not available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And not only is that okay, but it's important to have that time, that quiet time for us to set those boundaries. Another boundary might be our willingness to listen to and act on someone else's opinion, because everybody has one. And I'm sure you have wonderful people in your life who are I'm just looking out for you. I want the best for you. I don't want you to, get hurt. And so, are you sure you want to, whatever it is? There's a great movie, Last Holiday. Queen Latifah, LL Cool J and his dimples. But that's a separate story. It's the greatest movie because, and if you don't remember, she has just been existing, and she has money in the bank, but she's not spending it because she wants to be okay. And she does things that are safe, but not really anything out of the box. And then she gets a diagnosis of a terminal illness. Oh. So she cashes in the stocks and bonds and goes to this amazing resort outside of Prague. Absolutely the greatest movie, just amazing movie. And she's on the phone from I forget the name of the place, or the fictional name of the place, but she's on the phone with her sister, who is wants to be a country western singer. And Queen Latifah says, there aren't really black country western singers. And her sister's response is just the greatest line. I am not asking you to comment on the validity of my dreams. Don't you love that? Don't you? Yes, yes. How important it is for us to recognize, because if it makes our hearts sing and our tails wag, there is something there for us to do. Don't allow the world to rain on our parade and say, are you sure you want to do that? And if you want to skydive, if you want to go up in a hot air balloon, if you want to parasail, if you want to do some other plummeting sport, I will go and watch and bless you and wish you all the best. Because again, it's the sacred, yes, I want to do that. And the sacred, no, I'm not doing that. And it's up to us to decide what is ours to do and what's not. I love that quote from the movie. But what will they think? You have heard me use this quote before, and if I could tattoo it to the inside of my eyelids, it's just the greatest quote. What will they think is a 4-letter question that has killed more dreams and happiness than any other. Who is they? And why do we care so much about what they think? Who is this faceless group of people that is going to come for us if we don't measure up to their ideal? And why are we not really encouraged to examine this idea we take as inconvertible truth? The greatest book, Radically Content by Jamie Varon. But how often throughout the day are we offered a risky invitation and our first response is, but what will they think? Again, who are they? And why do we give them so much power in our lives? The loving, nurturing mother within us, the divine feminine, will ask us, but what do you want to do? What do you really want to do? And again, yes, I really want to do that, or no, I don't want to do that. And if we have a burning desire and a passion, I believe there's got to be a way for whatever that is to happen. If you if you have a bucket list, get some out of the bucket. I mean, let's wait. Whether you're 25 or 50 or 75 or 105, let's wait. Let's do whatever it is and allow people their love and compassion and concern and all the rest of that, and uphold those boundaries. I appreciate your concern, but I'm going to do this anyway. Or I love that idea, and thank you so much for sharing, but I'm not doing that. So important for us. Because again, if I get my yeses and nos mixed up, if I say no to an opportunity, then I've got my regret and my resentment, both of which do me no good whatsoever. Because when we come from that place of wisdom, from that inner knowing, from that divine feminine and mothering that always loves us, always encourages us, always invites us to do what we are called to do, it feels really good. And when we don't, it doesn't. Because, remembering from one of my favorite quotes from A Course in Miracles, I could see peace instead of this. When I stand in my truth, when I respect my boundaries and invite others to do the same, when I go to a family gathering and we start talking about politics or religion, and it's not appropriate or comfortable, I could see peace instead of this and hold my boundaries. I really appreciate you sharing that. I disagree with you, so let's talk about something else. There are lots of other wonderful things to talk about. This life is so amazing. Let's talk about something wonderful and happy and positive rather than getting down in the dirt about whatever it is. I could see peace instead of this. The loving, nurturing mother within us would invite, encourage, and challenge us to take care of ourselves. My son is 46. I was incredibly young when he was born, just so you know. But we had the talk when he was about 10, I think. You kind of have to do that. And didn't need to go into details. All we said was, take care of yourself. Whatever choice you make, whatever plans you make, just take care of yourself and do what's best for you and that will keep you healthy and happy and safe. Just take care of yourself. Because if you take care of yourself and you take care of yourself and you take care of yourself, then we're not selfish. We're holding our boundaries and doing what we need to do for ourselves and inviting everyone else to do the same. When we stand in our truth, when we hold our boundaries, when we do this, it invites other people in our lives. Well, if they can say no, maybe I can say no too. Or if he went to Berlin by himself last year, maybe I could go to Bora Bora or whatever the dream is. But when we live this most amazing life that we're called to live, it gives other people permission to do the same. So I have two quotes to close with. Front row seats to your life are limited, exclusive gems. Be lovingly wise about who has access to them. I love Facebook. I just love Facebook because I get so many cool quotes, and this is from Robert V. Taylor, the guy that wrote that book, but posted it yesterday, and the still small voice said, check this out. I just get so much richness, and the goofiness, God knows there's goofiness, so that's why God made scrolling. Just keep, you don't need to comment, you don't need to get into a fight, you just keep scrolling. But look for and find the wisdom and the richness. Let me repeat that. Front row seats to your life are limited, exclusive gems. Be lovingly wise about who has access to them. Because when we don't, and it comes from personal experience, that we can get bogged down in doing what we think everybody else wants us to do. However, the day comes when the risk to remain tight in a bud is more painful than the risk it takes to bloom. Today, honoring this divine wisdom, this divine feminine in each of us, today is the best day to look at our lives and say, yes, I love that and I want more. And yeah, that was interesting, and I choose to let it go. Today's the best day to do that. So with that in mind, join me in the light for just a minute. So in the peace and the quiet of this moment, we give great thanks for the reminder that there is only one power, presence, mind, life, and intelligence, and that is God. Spirit, the universe, the infinite, the divine, our higher power, our divine feminine, whatever we choose to call it. And we give great thanks for the opportunity to be together today, for this beloved spiritual community, for this glorious day, and for the opportunity to be reminded of our mothers, of our earthly mothers, holding them in the light and offering them love and compassion, and for this divine feminine that resides within each of us. And moving forward, we allow ourselves to call on that presence, to call on that wisdom, and to be reminded the truth of our being, what is ours to do and what's ours not to do, and choose accordingly. Because life is for us and always wants us to be happy and to succeed. We give thanks for our opportunity to be together. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is.